Sunday on the side. And that did.
Co-host with Billy Sunday on the side. What are you talking about?
Two. And we are back here live, everybody. Get to the Freedom Highway as soon as you can. It is the co-host Shim and the Billy Sunday live coming at you. It is 1 o'clock today. We are on time, ready to roll, ready to rock. And today, we are going to be doing some craziness. Today, I'm letting it get really far away from me. We are going to do magic.
The true magic, that is. The true magic. The dark arts. Not
Yeah.
Harry Potter. Well, maybe a little bit of Harry Potter, but
Well, it's going to be Harry Potter. It's going to be the dark arts. It's going to be the card game. Magic, the card game.
I wanted to say that,
And so, top of the show here, we're going to start off with just, aliens. What is
really aliens?
Aliens.
So early in the morning.
Aliens.
Sorry, not morning. So early in the afternoon.
Really, we're going to start off with a kind of definition of magic. And I think that magic and the popularity of magic is very heavily tied to the trend of atheism in our society. Almost a reversion to a kind of older way of looking at things. So what I'm going to do is have this is a Jesus finger puppet, in case anybody wants to get very offended.
Why would they be offended?
This is Jesus. Hey, everybody. Jesus. And that's going to be Freud. So that's the Freud finger puppet.
No, this is Karl Marx.
No, that's Freud. That's
You even put Karl Marx on Instagram. Oh, my God.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey. You can just say,
God.
I don't know my Karl Marx from my Freud, but who cares, really? So we're just getting a little fun with it, That's Freud, and this is Jesus, and they're going to duke it out over magic, over what is really magic,
I am magic.
Hey, guys.
I am magic. That's what's happened. I am
My
magic.
name is Jesus, and I'm a finger puppet, and I believe in Yahweh and not magic. But if you believe...
I believe in what I see, what is there, what is truly believable.
Yeah, well, you can't believe everything that you see and you hear. And
What?
just you got to see it to believe it, I guess, huh?
Oh.
So yeah, that I think that's really the big issue behind quote unquote magic. What is magic? Who is magic? I'm a magic man.
I am magic, just like Magic Mike.
Like Magic, who is Magic Mike?
Magic Mike is a movie. I'm joking, people.
But magic officially is going to begin now. My Fay-Ban's on.
Going to be good. This is going to be good.
And yeah, it's going to be great. We are going to talk a little bit about magic. And again, kind of the decline of religion and atheism leads to a lot of, people looking for other reasons. And is it heresy? Some people might consider it heresy.
No, it's not.
I think that it would actually probably qualify more as a blasphemy, which is heresy is like to say something that might not be acceptable. Blasphemy is to say something that's like completely contrary to religion. So if I really cared that much about what people say, I would consider this whole thing probably blasphemous. This whole entire show blasphemous. But a lot of things kind of go into what we consider magic. Sleight of hand, like the guy that's like, and he like pulls the card out, and he's like, and like it disappears. Like, magic,
It is magic.
Yeah.
I ain't thinking about it. There's a lot of magic shows out there nowadays. It's all about. It's like it was a year after magic, and it's still bringing back. even the ones that won America's Got Talent champions was a magician that won it.
Okay. Yeah, magic's big
and,
nowadays.
And,
It's
and
big.
he's really good. I mean, I've seen him tattoo a card out of nowhere, out of thin air on his chest. What do you say? That's not magic?
Well, that brings the next point up, which is illusion, which I think is a big thing in magic, is an illusion. Creating something that fools your senses, something that's not there that you might believe is there, or some, an illusion. Ooh. That would be a big thing in magic, would be illusion. And that it brings up, kind of the point I think of when you think of illusion is what is real? What is real? And how do we know what is real?
What is real is what you see, what you can touch, feel. That's real.
What you can touch and feel, I think that's a big basis of what is real. What you can see, I wouldn't think is real as much, just because a lot of people see stuff that isn't real, like, aliens.
But I mean, if they saw it, right, but they can't justify what they see, it's still real. I mean, you see it, but you don't have like photographic evidence to prove to people that you have seen it, right?
Yeah.
But you still see it, so it's still real.
Yeah, but like, what about people who have hallucinations? Visual hallucinations, obviously, or
must have low blood sugar, must be tired,
maybe, or they're on some kind of drug. Yeah, that's where I think that feeling and John McMurray. This is where I pull out my philosophy right here. Here's my Jesus finger puppet. I'm gonna dust off the old philosophy. This is where I think the definition, the distinguishing of the senses is the most important, because you can see something that's not there, that's not real. But if you feel something, then in a sense, it is real to you, no matter what, because how we feel is a basis of who we are. How you feel every day, how you wake up and how you feel throughout the day is who you are. So if you feel something, some kind of way, even if there is nothing outside of you, you still feel it, and it has a certain sense of reality, at least to you as a person. So I think that's a part of what reality is. Really, how you feel, that's what's real. Another big question, because, when you turn on the TV and you might see all this magic, and you might see Harry Potter, and you might see
Magicians, the series on Sci-Fi,
Magician, and the
Salem witch trials,
Miss Peregrine's House for Peculiar Children, which my cousin, shout out to Ransom Riggs, wrote.
You wrote that?
And you might wonder, like, why is it so popular? Why
think about it. Why is superheroes so popular, right? It's something that we all dream of becoming, right? We all wish that we had those type of abilities in our hands. So it leads us to our imagination of what we really want in life.
So true. Because it gives you like an escape almost from the mundane, the ordinary.
Exactly. Like all these spells out there. You wish that you could do some of those spells too, right? To people. But you can't. You wish you could.
I guess I could. I wish I could.
You could. And that's unless if you go to the dark parts
side,
of the web, then you might find stuff like that. But I'm just saying.
I don't really think you have to go that far, because there's like magic spells that people on Instagram say, like, if you give me $5, you can have 10,000 followers. That seems like magic to me. It's like the friendship spell.
That's not magic. That's just selling. That's just selling your worth right there. Okay.
I think that magic is really popular because it does provide an escape from I wouldn't even call it the ordinary or mundane. I'm going to put it in my Jesus finger puppet and say that magic provides an escape from morality. Yeah, that's right. I said it, Freud. Morality. What are you going to do? Yes. Yes. morality. Okay? That's what I think magic is. I think magic is an escape from, what's going on in this country, what's going on in the world, in the universe. It's easy to just turn on the TV and watch Harry Potter and not really think about it. But, hey, that is why I think it's so popular, because we do want to escape because of the way that philosophy is structured. It really points us and pushes us towards atheism, the way Western philosophy is so objective. It's very objective. Everything is geared in the subjective-objective dualism of you are the subject, and anything that is true or right or has any value must necessarily be objective. And when you look at it like that, if everything is objective, if everything is based around objects, then, something like another person or, and then things like God, like that, that becomes almost nonsensical from that point of view. It becomes like silly, almost.
Yes, it does. Yes, it is.
So I think that's kind of why we have so much atheism, because of the objective, quote-unquote, objective point of view that is pushed on us.
I wouldn't really say that, really. I would say mostly because you don't want to be controlled.
Well, I would say that we don't want to be controlled, but
because religion is a way of controlling people, if you think about it.
I would say religion sets you free. I would say that thinking about the objective and denying.
Are we setting you free by going by the laws of, by going by the ways of God? Like, you feel like what you're doing is good, but then you read the Bible written by a man, right? Not written by God, written by a man.
Written by a man.
And then next thing you know, you believe that's what God think is the correct thing, which is actually what man think is the correct thing.
Well, I would say that a broad appeal to authority is kind of what has led to this atheism that we see in today's society. And I would say that, I can understand what you're saying in that religion tells people what to think. But I would also say that just, like a lot of these guys in these quote-unquote organized religions.
The Catholics.
Organized religions, they would go against a lot of what Christ actually said.
That's why you have new religions like Scientology. Wait, Scientology? Scientology, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, well, I would say that an appeal to authority, an appeal to the kind of pragmatic disguise that we see so prevalent in society will lead to atheism, because everything is objective. Everything is seen as, can you hold it in your hand? Can you put it in your pocket? And that's what's right. Mm-hmm. And that comes from you not thinking, outside the box. And a lot of that can definitely come from going to organized religion, to a church that has, a big hierarchy and a structure to it. And they do tell you what to say and how to think.
Exactly.
But that's not religion itself. That's organized religion. That's organized religion. That's
all religions are organized. Which religion is not organized? I mean,
no, that's not true. Religion itself isn't organized.
They all have a leader up top, don't they? Catholics, the Pope. Baptists, I don't know, a deacon or something. I have no idea.
Not all religions are like that.
The Hinduism, some. I have no idea if this would be racist. I don't want to say it.
Not every religion is like that, bro. The Society of Friends doesn't have pastors, doesn't have priests. Some of them do, but most of them, a lot of them don't. They're unorganized, unprogrammed services. And, look at, I don't know, the Rastafaris. Are they priests? No.
No, that's different. I wouldn't really call that a religion, really. So I wouldn't really call that a religion. It's more of a way of life. It's more of a way of life.
You're not gonna call a Rasta a religion, but you call Scientology a religion.
No, Rasta is like a way of life. If you think about it,
I think Rasta is a very, very deep religion, much more so than Scientology.
They're trying to make it into a religion, but it's more a way of life. You grow your hair.
That's what religion is, bro. And that's what I mean. That's what religion is. Religion is a way of life, dude. If you look at it from just the perspective of every religion is organized, yeah, like that's not what religion is about. That's not what it's about. It's not about, going to church and forgiveness of sins and, going to kneel down and say the Our Father. That's not what religion is. But lest we stray too far from the topic of magic and what is magic, ancient religion actually, in the birth of Jesus Christ, did supply to us, to our modern conception of what magic is. When Jesus was born, one of the guys that showed up were the three magi, the three kings who showed up, also known as the three magi, showed up at Jesus' birth. So let that one sink in for a little bit. The magi was a term used for the Zoroastrianism. I'm probably not saying that right, but
first time I'm hearing that word.
You've never heard of Zoroastrianism?
No.
It's like this. It's basically a really ancient religion that is still somewhat practiced today, and they had a very kind of early understanding of science, and were advanced in just kind of like the wisdom of the world, more so than a lot of other places. And they were called magi. And the three magi are some of the dudes that showed up when they saw Jesus' birth. They read the sky and they saw the star that was over Bethlehem. So the story goes, and they knew that was Christ being born. So they went and they paid homage to him. So, thus the term magic originates through the magi at Jesus' birth.
The Bible lied to us.
No. Some of them, they call them the magi in the Bible. Depends on what translation you read, but they can be called magi.
The King James version. That's the only version there is, really.
I know, it's a good version. It is. But yeah, that's kind of cool to think about. That magic came from. Yes, it is. Star Trek is way cooler than Star Wars.
No, too far.
And
way too far.
Welcome to the Freedom Highway. It's about 1:20. Everybody, if you're just tuning in, and we are here. I'm Billy Sunday. This is my co-host Shim. We stream live every Saturday at 1. On here on Facebook. I also do posts. Last time the YouTube didn't work, but I'm going to have the YouTube up hopefully this time. And we're doing magic today. We're talking about magic. Which comes from the magi. The term, because magic, magic is one of those terms that only makes sense to us. Like what magic represented whatever, how many thousands of years ago, whatever like we think of as magic, so many thousands of years ago, they didn't call magic. It was just like the way they explained. It was like basically, and according to Freud, him,
the real man, the real true,
was a genius in his own right.
In his own right, no? He was a genius overall.
He said that magic was essentially the primitive form of religion, which I think is the best way to look at magic, as basically maybe the first religion in like the kind of Western world. There were other religions in other parts of the world, but magic would have probably been religion, in this part of whatever the West is, whatever you want to consider the West.
What happened to magic then? Why is it still not as big as it was back then? Why is that?
Because it's a lot of hocus pocus.
Hocus.
That's why. Hocus pocus is actually a word
Not the movie Hocus Pocus.
Not the movie Hocus Pocus.
Although a great movie, I should say.
Good movie.
Thank you, Disney,
it is
for
a really
that.
good movie. But Hocus Pocus comes from English guys making fun of the Catholic Mass. Because during the transubstantiation, which is like basically a holdover of magic in the Catholic Mass, when the Eucharist, the bread, becomes the body of Christ, they say something like Hokiai unsunyai puntonkiai.
I told you not to say these stuff on the show. Why would you do that?
Oh my God.
I told you not to do this.
They're gonna come get me, guys. Watch out. They're gonna come get me. But that's all right. They can have me.
What? No.
The Hocus Pocus was kind of guys making fun of that part of the Catholic Mass. So you would have these street performers in Britain, because Britain was one of the first big dissenters from what was, what is now known as the Catholic Church, but back in the day was just kind of like Roman Christianity. Would say Hocus Pocus, when they did their trick, then they were like out on the street corner, they went Hocus Pocus, and they did the trick. And it was like, it was also kind of because magic at that point was moving more into entertainment than it was into an actual. You got some good texts on there, bro? You getting some hits? This is my co-host Shim here. Obviously. Anyway, whatever, bro. You fact-checking me right now? You better be fact-checking me.
I don't need to fact-check you right now, Paulie. Information in here.
Okay, good.
Remember that.
Remember,
I know my magic. I know my magic. And I know my religion. Kind of. But I know my magic.
You know your magic. Did you know that's what Hocus Pocus was?
I am a Salem guy. I'm talking about dark magic, like Salem type of dude.
Okay. Well, dark magic. I think I get to that a little bit. But right now we're talking Hocus Pocus, which was a spell, which some people can call a spell.
First of all,
the spell.
What could that spell do? Hocus Pocus.
A spell on you.
Yeah.
Well, that spell, like I said, was used more for entertainment purposes.
So when magic, like Houdini, who say Hocus Pocus, bam,
Hocus Pocus, and then
he's out of the tank.
Yeah,
like that.
Exactly. The abracadabra, that one was a real actual spell.
That's still used today. Everybody, even little kids, good abracadabra, boom, a little rabbit come out of the hat.
Right. Abracadabra, and then they cut the guy in half or something, or put him back together, and he jumps out.
That always freaked me out.
Right.
And I'm saying, what if I get picked, and next thing you know, they're cutting me, and you see blood dropping? I was like, oh my God, I'm being sawed in half.
I think it might hurt a little bit before you get to that point, but abracadabra actually is a combination of Hebrew words.
Oh, of course.
So
of course.
That and that is what was used to create abracadabra. It has it's like the Abba and the Kadab or something.
The cadaver, the abracadabra.
I don't think it's cadaver, but it's basically the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The words in Hebrew used for Father, Son, and Holy Spirit combined into one.
Abba, like Abraham,
like
right?
Abba,
like Abraham.
Father, like Father, yeah. Abraham, the father.
Abraham was the father.
The father figure
of Judaism.
The children.
Of the Hebrews. Yeah.
Or the first child, you might say. Mm-hmm. Who knows? But, that's abracadabra. And that was used originally as an actual spell. Hocus Pocus is more just like dudes making fun of magic in general to kind of like make you laugh and also distract you a little bit while they do their sleight of hand. And then you give them, $1, a couple dollars or whatever.
After all, magic is all about illusion. So
magic is heavy on illusion. Very heavy on illusion. kind of a little pastime of mine. Not magic, but just the kind of definition finding a working definition of what is an illusion. Something, I think, deeply intertwined with perception and sense. And fooling the perceptions and sense. So that's abracadabra. Actual spell, thought to have healing properties if inscribed on an amulet and worn. Used to...
That's like witches. Witches use like items like tablets and so forth to like seal demons or stuff away, if you think about it.
They did.
Yeah. So they would like enchant objects to like keep a demon in or keep it out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then once people like excavators break that object, the demons let loose.
Everywhere. The demons are everywhere, and they're so hard to clean up.
Yeah. So
gotta scrub and rub.
Witches aren't all bad, you know. They protect. So you people
well,
that were killing witches
we get into witches and witchcraft and stuff. That's later. Right now, here we're talking about Shazam. That's another.
You mean the hero Shazam?
Shazam.
The hero Shazam? Yeah, Captain Marvel Shazam?
Yeah, exactly like that.
Oh my god! I just remembered.
What?
From the comic book, Shazam was a magician. And
Who?
Then Shazam, he was a magician, and then he gave Billy Batson his powers just by saying the word Shazam.
Which is like another one of the hocus pocus, abracadabra. You would say like Shazam.
He says about Shazam. He becomes a hero, and next thing you know, he gets all the powers, the strength of Hercules, the speed of whichever god we want to call it, and the knowledge and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Those are just some spells, just kind of common words that have worked their way over from atavistic tendencies of magic that still linger on. Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy. That's probably my favorite one.
Easy Wizzy, let's get busy.
Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy.
What's that? Is that a spell to continue dancing or something? What is that
that's
about?
Just like, that lies solely in the realm of entertainment. Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy. That's like, there is...
That's like something beyond. A DJ would actually put in a soundtrack or something,
That's like some DJ that doesn't even have anything to do with Latin or anything at all. That's just like silly, like, let's have a little fun. Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy. It's not even about the body and blood, Hokusai, Pokusai, and Sanyai Gay.
Stop saying these stuff on the show.
Come and get you.
Oh my god. The next thing you know, some guys in suit burst through the doors right now and said.
But, yeah, this is the Freedom Highway, and we're getting real free today. The spells, Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy. Speaking another Izzy Wizzy, how about that Oumuamua? You know what that is? You never heard of that, bro? It's the just random, speaking of just random words that make no sense. Oumuamua is a random word that doesn't make sense, but it is.
I feel like you saying all these spells one by one is like raising something up, I'm like saying...
I'm trying to raise something with somebody. Maybe my sense of morality, my consciousness. But that is the name of an asteroid that is shaped like an alien spaceship that went in went into the world, went around something and shot off faster than whatever type of gravity it would have achieved, actually. And it's shaped like a cylindrical thing
that went, shot off like a rocket or a comet,
and basically shot off, went into our universe, turned, and then shot out. And this happened last year.
What if it was? What if it was a rocket?
This happened last year, bro. I'm telling you. Look it up. Did you even look that up? You gotta look that up, bro. Come on.
Whoa.
Oumuamua, Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy. Is legit alien spaceships. Yeah. Look it up. Oumuamua. Oumuamua. I don't really believe in aliens. I just believe in aliens.
Oh, that thing. Oh, I remember seeing this. Yeah.
It's kind of trippy, you know. I mean, there are logical explanations. It could have some kind of fissure or vent in the back that releases some kind of chemical gaseous reaction.
But it says,
I mean, like, think about it. It's cylindrical like
it
that.
Says it passes the sun, right? What if the gas that's in it, and then the heat from the sun ignited it to make it do that, like that shot?
I don't know. I mean, you know, it's kind of trippy to think about. But all things about Omamu Wamu and Izzy Wizzy Shazam Poco Poco aside, those things, you know, like abracadabra, that's like a white type of magic. That's a healing magic that you would wear on your amulet, and I don't know, hopefully you'd get better. Probably mostly just a placebo effect that actually worked. And then there's dark magic. There's the dark magic.
True magic, they say. The true magic, that's for sure.
Necromancy. That's my favorite one. Although necromancy can be used for good as a last resort.
But first, you're going to need a book, the Necronomicon, for necromancy to work. So, yeah. I recommend do not get the book.
Yeah. Definitely not a bestseller. Probably can't find it at Borders. But
if you want to find it, you got to go like deep in the woods where the witches were hanged from the Salem witch trials. Those bastards that hanged those women. But all right.
Yeah, necromancy was the art of raising spirits from the dead. People would raise up spirits, and not always for bad reasons. Sometimes people would raise up spirits because they needed their help. You know, it's like, this guy was really good at fighting off this kind of thing, but he's dead, so what are we going to do? Raise his spirit up, and he'll protect us, kind of thing.
You see, they always think that witches were bad. That's what I don't like. And then it takes a religious person to kill them. That's just saying. And witchcraft is a religion back in the days, right?
I mean, you're kind of talking about witches and magic like it's real.
It is real.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not, bro.
Oh my God.
This brings us back to the definition of reality. You know, what is real? How do you know what is real? But
factoid, it's real.
At risk of getting too sidetracked into definitions of philosophy, you know, what is real, what isn't real. Magic spells are high up on the list of things that are definitely not real. And divination, too, would be up there. Divination is the ability to see the future. Ooh, another type of magic.
I mean, people can see the future. You can have glimpses of the future. It might not be like clear like a road shit ahead, but it's people can see glimpses. And then when it's happening, they have that deja vu moment, like you've been here before.
You know what I think?
That happened to me before.
For me, yeah. I mean, I think necromancy. Maybe some people are just more. They just have more of a religious quality about them. They are just more kind of in tune. And you know, when you die, you go up to God into heaven. And maybe if you have that religious quality about your person, you know, you can tap into that a little bit. It doesn't have to be magic, you know. It could be completely practical. We're all linked together. We're all humans, you know, sharing this family bond of being children. And, you know, maybe some people are just more in tune about what's going on around them, and they see the signs of what's going to happen that other people don't see because they're just more in tune. Calling it magic, I think, is misleading. I think is an appeal to an older way of life. It's an appeal to an older way of life because a lot of people are raised to not believe anything, unfortunately. And
I mean,
divination.
First of all, everybody has their own freedom of thinking, right, and speech, right? So
they do, yes, and so do I.
So you have your own freedom to believe what you want to believe, and
they have my own freedom
to believe what they want to believe,
and they have a freedom to not believe.
Exactly. So.
But you know, that's not going to stop me from believing and from saying that I believe. And the divination and necromancy and all of that and all of magic and all of the stuff that goes along with abracadabra, hocus pocus, all kind of fell by the wayside when one guy came around, and this guy, JC. When JC, Jesus Christ, Jesus of the Nazarene, became big, and the rise of Christianity, then we start to have this decline of magic, and that's when you start to see, like you said, the witch trials.
Well, what if Jesus was magic himself? I mean, the stuff that they say he does in the Bible.
Right. Yeah.
It could have been magic.
He raises people from the dead. The dude
necromancy,
raised
bro.
people from the
Necromancy.
dead. He told the future. He made prophecies. He
is magic.
Said that I'm going to destroy the temple, in 3 days, and then I will rebuild it. And when he died, the temple, there's an earthquake and the temple broke.
You see, back then people didn't have schools, a good school system.
Like I said, some people just have more of a religious quality about their person, and talk about a guy who had the ultimate religious quality about his person. This one guy, I don't care how blasphemous or heretic, how much of a heretic you think I am. I have a Jesus finger puppet, and
it'd be odd if I found a witch book and it says that Jesus was one of the first.
I would take that witch book
there.
and I would probably throw it into the trash for you.
Oh my God! No,
help you.
No.
Not escape from reality. So that's really what brought, that's where we have the evil illusion of magic, and the witches is going to turn me into a frog.
What kind of witch? This ain't Disney Channel. What kind of witch are you thinking of?
I got better. Monty Python. No.
Oh no.
There's this part in a Monty Python movie where they're like, there's a witch trial, and they're like, burn her, she's a witch. And they're like, what? How do you know she's a witch?
What's up with that? Yeah,
she turned me into a frog. And he looks at him and he's like,
you're not a frog. You're a human right now. I
got better.
And then this one thing, like, if she drowns, she's human. If she floats, she's a witch.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like saying, but you're dead. You're going to float anywhere you take it.
Yeah, you float, you die. That in and of itself was kind of giving power to. I guess it was just mostly the magic still hanging on. But at that point, once Christianity had risen in the medieval era, you have kind of this big battle between magic, and then you have a guy come onto the scene named King Arthur. And he is essentially the guy who in Britain, because at this time there was Christianity on the mainland Europe, but at that point it had kind of died out, and Christianity was still strong in Britain because Britain was isolated from the continent. So you have all of these kind of pagan, no joke, like the pagan horde, the barbarian horde, getting at the real heart of Christianity. And in Britain, we have this guy named King Arthur who, like the legends say, is he slayed the dragon. He fought the pagan hordes and he brought Christianity. He saved Christianity almost.
The true
king, King Arthur. And then there's his magician Merlin. Boom. Merlin.
You see, without Merlin, King Arthur wouldn't even be around, if you think about it.
Well, I would say Merlin is kind of like, because Christianity is an accepting religion. Christianity is like.
Is it
look,
accepting?
There's a difference between Christianity and organized Christianity. Big difference. Huge difference. Miles of difference.
But it's still Christianity still. So
whatever you call Christianity, whatever.
All right.
The belief in Jesus. Let's just say that. Doesn't have to be Christianity. It kind of does have to be Christianity because that's what Christianity is. Christianity is the belief in Jesus. Organized Christianity. Organized religion. Those are different things. To organize something, what does it mean to organize? To take something and put it in the little components. Like your body is made up of organs. You have a heart, you have a liver, you have a brain. Most people have a brain.
Wow, most people have a brain.
That's what organizing is. That's when you have the church and you organize it. This person is that. That person is this. These people do this. And that's not what Jesus wanted. That's not what Christianity is about. Christianity isn't about this guy is the priest and these people make all the decisions. You're just like the foot. You know what I mean? You just get trampled on.
Yeah.
You know? He was about everybody has the light, blah, blah, blah. You know, I am the Son of God, you know, yada, yada, yada. So that, you know, organized Christianity, way different than actual. When I say Christianity, I mean like what Christ spoke. That's my definition, my personal definition of Christianity. What Christ, the words that came out of the man Jesus' mouth. Mm-hmm. That is Christianity. Now, what most people think of as Christianity, I wouldn't consider actual Christianity. I would consider it organized oppression, for lack of a better term. But, yeah. Welcome to the Freedom Highway. It is about 1:40. If you're just tuning in, we stream every Saturday at 1 on Facebook. I also post to YouTube. Search the Freedom Highway, episode 12. You do have to put episode 12 because there are a couple other highways based on freedom, but this one is episode 12.
It's a long highway, people. It's a long highway.
It's a long highway. Life is a highway, and I'm going to ride it all night long.
Good one.
Joe Cochran, I think that was.
It's a good song.
It's a good song, right? Our life is a highway. I'm going to ride it all night long. But yeah, life here is a highway. And we got a lot to get through. We're trying not to let this one get away because I think this one is full crackpot. This one is definitely full crackpot. But Merlin, I think, represents
true magic back in the day.
The almost assimilation of pagan Britain into Christianized Britain. Because you have the Druids, which is a very vicious, bloodthirsty, human sacrificial religion, being co-opted into this Christianity brought by the Romans originally, because Jesus was executed by the Romans and the children. Dying, and then Roman Britain basically being kind of the last outpost of real Christianity, King Arthur coming and saving it. And I think really the big thing that saved it was that he was friendly with Merlin. He didn't go out and kill all the Druids. He was like, why don't we work together here?
They were actually good friends, actually.
They were good friends, and a lot of pagan traditions are held over. Maybe for better or for worse. You might say for better or for worse. For better in that it did incorporate a lot of people, but for worse in that some of them still hang on. From thousands of years ago, people still practice the same kind of pagan nonsense, mumbo jumbo. But that is Merlin. That is King Arthur in a nutshell. Kind of just the revival of ancient Christianity in Britain by making friends with the Druids and not necessarily, finding them all and murdering them viciously, which is definitely not Christian, but which has definitely been done by a lot of Christians throughout history. Which brings us neatly into the early modern period, which was like full on, if you aren't Christian, you are going to die. We are going to torture you until you convert. God. And that's where you have
bastards.
Probably the downfall, like the move from the apostolic age, where you have like a real, and you don't get to know my password in case you were wondering. Huh? I'm not going to tell you the password to my laptop.
What?
It's top secret. There's top secret things on that laptop. My screensaver goes on every once in a while. I haven't set it to turn off, and you don't know the password because you aren't a devout Christian, non-Christian believer in.
So you're playing that card on me, huh? Okay then.
But
neither is he, but he knows the password, so he can't.
Sigmund Freud was a genius. The man was an atheist, which I have my own issues with. But He was a genius. Freud was a genius. Freud was an absolute genius. He understood the human mind on a very deep level. But yeah, you have the witch trials.
Because you make a religion bring him down.
That's where you have the witch trials, the early modern period. You have the witch trials. That's where the witch trials come in. Salem. You have the Spanish Inquisition, where a lot of children...
They were trying to blame the witches for these stuff, you know? They always say the witches were...
When I say children, I mean the Jews, and not to be pejorative, but I say the children of Israel. Not to be pejorative. The children were brutally murdered, or tortured until they were converted. That was the early modern era into the modern era. That's where you have those witch trials, and she turned me into a frog. Well, I mean, mostly it was just like she practices magic and like put a spell on me or something like that.
You see, simple work of medicine, and they say they're making a potion or a spell. Like,
yeah, well,
people back
I would
then,
say
people back then
a
were
spell
so dense,
was basically
so
just misogyny at its finest. Like that's a really big thing here in Connecticut because we have the Salem witch trials just north of us in Massachusetts.
Really? We go there.
It was just the Puritan religion. The Puritans were brutally repressive people. Mm-hmm. Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Because they want to spread their religion to other people.
They wanted to be Christian, but if you didn't believe, then they'd cut your head off. And is that Christian?
So you have a few witches doing their own stuff. They say no, it's not Christian. We're going to kill them. Call them, make them look bad, which they're not. Make them look bad and just kill them. And they're always women.
It was always women, and it was like, bro, what did you do with her? That she was threatening to let the whole county know that she was a witch. She put a spell on me. I didn't have a choice. I was compelled. And and who's the jury that decides this?
And then
all white men.
And then these trials of how to determine if they're a witch. They have a mark on them. They have to drown them. If they're drowned.
Yeah, right.
They're
how
human.
Convenient. We're gonna kill you, and
yeah.
If you floated after, well, then we were wrong. If you sink, then we were right. But you're kind of dead either way.
Exactly. And then they put shame. Yeah. They actually shame them.
Misogyny at its finest.
They shame them by stripping them in public and search for like a mark on them just to see if they're a witch or not. Like what is your goal?
That's the early modern period. That's where magic and witches and stuff became heavily outlawed.
You guys need
but
to
at the same time, you have a renaissance almost of looking back at ancient Egyptian, Middle Eastern, Hebrew things in the Enlightenment period, which is around that same time. That just kind of happens when you come out of a dark era, so lost, and then you finally stop killing each other, and the Black Plague finally goes away, and then you're like, what was that? I've got some books here that might describe it. It's written by these Egyptians who are actually really far advanced than we might have previously thought.
They're far advanced because of the aliens, remember? They dealt with aliens.
Star Trek.
No.
That is how I think you explain why you have this kind of Egyptian, Hebrew, Middle Eastern kind of magic, cultish thing that goes on. Because it is all very much centered in that realm of the world, if I might be so bold. Hebrew. Children. So that's kind of where we have the Enlightenment and where we have the kind of rise of what is now the modern atheist tendency. We have the René Descartes and the separation of the body and the mind, quote unquote. The objective, the dualism that we now are entwined with. And that's just a little brief history of philosophy in a nutshell. Objectivism objective idealism.
See,
And
we always go back to philosophy. His topic, his brain
Of course
is
I go
all
back
about
to philosophy.
philosophy.
Because that's what life is. Life is philosophy. Philosophy is life. And you know what? It explains so much. It explains about everything. Explains what's going on. It explains who you are. And you don't. And the best part about philosophy is you don't have to read Descartes to understand philosophy. You don't have to read Plato to understand what philosophy is. You know, everybody knows what philosophy is. You have a philosophy. I have a philosophy. Everybody has a philosophy. That's the beauty of it. That's at once the beauty and the ugliness. You know, that's the simplicity and the difficulty of it. Because it is so simple that it's almost like, oh yeah. You know? You have one of those oh yeah moments.
It's so simple yet so hard.
Exactly.
So simple yet hard.
So simple and yet so tough to grasp at the same time.
That's not philosophy. That sounds like math.
Math is just difficult. But it's like once you learn the moving parts, once you learn a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then you get it. And that's it. And you're done. And it's used for one small little part of figuring out this little piece that you put into the machine or you program into the computer. And that's it. You know, that's all it will ever be. That's all science, quote unquote, science will ever be. But we have the rise of science, we have the Enlightenment, and a curious thing that comes out of that is the spirit rappers, which I consider myself a spirit rapper.
Not actual rapping, but alright.
Yo, drop the beat for me. Alright, yo, I'm a spirit rapper. They call me the trapper, 'cause I get your girl like a pile of fur.
What? Like a
Yeah, like the ancient fur trappers, or like the old fur trappers.
Oh, pile of fur.
Yeah, pile of fur is what I said. I got 100 pounds of fur. Nelly, y'all. No, but the spirit rappers was legit. Like, they were like this big hoax. Mm-hmm. They would like, basically, you would pay them and they'd like say, I'm going to talk to your dead cousin or whatever. And,
Oh, but if I think about it, you ever hear about Ed and Lorraine Warren?
And, well, Ed and Lorraine Warren aside, what they would do is they would rap on the table and say, oh, that is your cousin coming. I am getting a reading from her. And she says that you left the iron on in your house. You know, that was a spirit rapper, quote unquote. Largely a hoax. And, you know, just kind of those little things kind of got washed away during the Enlightenment. Some of them still hold on to this day. And that brings us to Freud. Back to Freud. He was right then, you know, saying that magic is the earliest form of religion, which I definitely believe. And magic has been subsequently moved to Hocus Pocus. David Copperfield. Go to Las Vegas. That's Star Trek.
Whoa. Too far. Way too far. No. We don't speak that word here.
But that is largely what magic is nowadays. Entertainment. Something
Penn and Teller, you know. Houdini started entertainment business with magic that it continued through the generations.
Yeah. What have you got on Houdini?
He was a madman. That's why I got on him.
He was just a madman?
Trying to kill himself for people's entertainment. What if he actually died? Nah, that's crazy. Although, I would say, how he gets out of some of those stuff, pretty amazing, though.
I remember Houdini. He was the guy who would, like, dislocate parts of his body to, like, do some, like, weird thing. And like,
I mean, like, how could you tie yourself, put you in a tank, then close the tank, put a sheet over it, and next thing you know, boom, you're out, but you're still soaking wet? How is that possible? How are you
They said he would dislocate his shoulder. He would dislocate his shoulders. And he had, like, extreme flexibility. Magic, bro. Magic.
Well, for you to dislocate your shoulders, it must be magic. And put it back in, it must be magic. So
the real magic is how all these politicians have us all scared crapless to not actually do anything about, the 1%. That's the real magic. That's the real magic. Okay, if you want to know what the real magic is, it's how we all sit and go, I'm not listening. That's the real magic, okay?
If you were part of the 1%, you would understand. You have all your money, you have everything that you ever need, and then the government has your backs also, because basically, for them to run as a kind of thing, anything, they go to these 1% for money.
I know. It's like, right? You got the government and the 1%, and they're the same nowadays. Exactly. There's no difference between them. That's the real magic, if you ask me. How we don't care. But, yep. And magic is now quote-unquote occult knowledge, lumped in along with the knowledge of aliens. Hashtag alien life. Yeah. Aliens, magic, they go hand in hand. But we are running out of time here.
Do they?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, just in terms of, occult.
But who's more superior? Who's more superior?
I wish I had time to argue with that, but I'm trying to hype. We got one more episode left of this season, guys. We got one more episode left.
No, wait, hold on. One more thing.
One more thing.
Magic was created as a defense against aliens. That's all I can say.
You heard it here first. Magic is the last defense, besides the English crown, which is backed by magic against the aliens. We figured it out. He's
right about that.
Right here.
Magic is backed by.
But next episode
by magic
is a full, true Hollywood story of Billy Sunday. Welcome to Billy Sunday, who he is, what he is, where he is, Billy Sunday, and the podcast. We are going to go into a definition of what is a podcast. Is this a podcast? I suppose it's a podcast, but what makes a podcast a podcast? What makes a podcast good? We're going to kind of give you little tips, secrets, maybe if you're interested in starting your own podcast. And on the way, we're going to dig deep into who is Billy Sunday. I'm going to give you guys a true Hollywood story you think you know. You think you know Billy Sunday.
And who are the Shims?
You think
the
you know
dynasty
Billy
of the Shims.
But you have no idea. Okay? You have no idea, Billy Sunday. And
he's just a normal guy, people.
That's about it. We are running out of time. It's 2:00, folks. And this is the Freedom Highway wishing you a happy trails. And have a good afternoon.
So long, people. So long. So goodbye, Sigmund Freud and Jesus.
Goodbye.